What does principle over precedent mean to you? I had to think on this one. One, to make sure I fully had the definitions and meaning straight. You'll see how this ties into today's title and topic, 6 Daily Faculties to Live By. There's no doubt in my mind that if you focus on these, you'll live an inspired, more prosperous, and successful life in your terms, because that's all that really matters. What is success to you? Success is different to all of us. Welcome to the Elle Daily Podcast, the EDP. If you've listened to my first videos, thank you. You've heard this before, but quick repeat for our new guests, which welcome to all, by the way. I'm so happy you're here. On the Elle Daily Podcast, we'll talk about all things that inspire and elevate our lives. I'm your host, Ellen Roers, and I will say I've missed connecting with you as I kicked off my new job the last couple weeks. It's going great, by the way. I absolutely admire the people, so brilliant, and it is so organized, which I love. I can do well on the fly. Spontaneity is great for me too, but if organization was a love language, if you haven't checked out love languages, check them out. But let's say organization was a love language, it would definitely be one of mine, along with spontaneity. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Anyways, back to kind of how this works. So most days it'll just be us, like today. On these type of days, we'll review an inspirational quote, affirmation, and discussion to follow. My favorite days will be when a monthly guest or inspirational guest joins us for an interview. You'll absolutely love our first. He's fabulous. And when I introduce him, you'll know exactly why he inspires me and how he'll inspire you. With that, let's get started. So before we dive into the 6 faculties to live by and discuss principle over precedent, I don't want to forget that because, like I said, they're going to go hand in hand and you'll see why. Let's go over the quote I picked. It's going to sound a little harsh to some of you, but I mean this with love, and you will find how relative it is to today's topic. I assure you it will all come together. So this quote is from Elle Roers. She's one that inspires me. Check her out if you haven't. She's got a YouTube channel, I should say. So you need to hear this loud and clear. No one is coming. It's up to you. That's what she says. No one is coming. It's up to you. So, right? Sounds a little bit harsh, maybe, but maybe you're feeling a little alone when you hear that. But to me, it's so true. We really are the only ones that control our thoughts, emotions, habits, actions, you name it. So why I love this quote so much, it takes away blame. Blame to me is what paralyzes us from growth. Blame takes away your accountability. So you can think of this in so many different arenas of our lives, right? Your childhood, past experiences, love relationships, or any type of relationship for that matter, work, and the list goes on. This could be a topic, a whole nother topic in itself. So we'll come back to it on another Elle Daily podcast. All right, so let's go to the affirmation. But one thing I was thinking about, before we go there, I am curious how many of you are not firm believers in affirmation. I do hear a lot of people, friends, family, people on the street that say, I don't believe in them. That is absolutely okay, but hear me out. Affirmations is what we feed our minds. Basically, it's the thoughts that run through our mind minute by minute. I mean, it can be negative, can be positive. For example, if you're about ready, you're working, you're ready to deliver a presentation and you're thinking, goodness, I'm going to bomb this. Well, that's an affirmation, a negative affirmation, right? So I know I have been known to feed myself negative affirmations on a regular basis, and I've gotten much better at it. It's taken me years to practice to catch those negative thoughts or affirmations and switch them to a positive affirmation. So what does affirmation actually mean in the dictionary? Here we go. The true definition of affirmation: the assertion that something exists or is true, something that is affirmed, a statement or proposition that is declared to be true. Confirmation or ratification of truth or validity of a prior judgment, decision, etc. So there you go. Asserting that something exists to be true. So why not think positive, affirming thoughts? So here's today's affirmation. I do my best when I feel my best. I take care of myself, mind, body, and soul. That's it. Simple, right? The holistic approach to living an inspirational life, feeling your best on all levels. This brings us back full circle to Mel's quote. No one is coming, it's up to you. Again, we're responsible fully. Another message I really love, or I picked up this listening to Tony Robbins a while back. Your biography is not your destiny. The past only equals your future if you live there. It's so true. Like, depending on where you came from, it doesn't matter. He's basically saying free yourself from your chains of your past. So I could dwell on past hurts or disappointments, but why, right? I'd rather learn from them and think everything happens for a reason, focus and create new memories in the future, and know that these things were there to build you, right? So what is it that you really need to take action in to be better mind, body, and soul? To me, it all goes hand in hand. But starting with the body for me is number one, the house of your mind and spirit. Are you getting enough rest? Physical activity, eating right, limiting stress. Are you having fun? Having fun is crucial. You gotta get rid of stress and have fun. Dance. Then focus on the mind. What are you telling yourself on a regular basis? Are you aware of the subconscious thoughts running in your mind? Do you believe that you are worthy and capable of everything and anything? Do you believe anything is possible? All of that will make it right in the heart and soul. If you believe that, everything feels right. So with that, we are now back to my original question that I started with the podcast. What does principle over precedent mean to you? Let's define them first. And I'm going to give you my simple summary. It's just easier. But feel free to look up Webster's official definition. I will not be offended. So precedent, I think of something that precedes or comes before, much like court, right? So something that's always been, which to me can feel very limiting. I personally love to kind of break a rule. So precedent, it's the rebel in me. Think of the Wright brothers. We would not have air travel if they would have not thought, well, if they would have thought flying has never been done, why am I going to even bother with this, right? Think of all the people before us that had these great imaginations of creating something better, even Ford with the cars, right? Where there's a will, there is a way. So principle, I think of the fundamental truth, something that other truths or theories can be based on. So going back to that Wright brothers theory analogy, just because flying had never been done, kind of the precedent, right, didn't mean they couldn't focus on a new truth or theory, kind of #principle. So principle to me is always over precedent. So that's why my entire life, I always like to think and live big. So now this is where the fun begins on today's podcast. I'll divulge the 6 faculties to live by. I don't know exactly who came up with them, to be honest. I learned them from Bob Proctor, who's just another amazing man who I love to listen to. He's a very inspirational leader to me. So here they are, in no particular order, but I will point out my favorites and write yours down. You might have a favorite. Number 1 is perception. Number 2, will. 3, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. Those are the 6. So we'll start out with perception. Easy. How you perceive anything is everything, similar to what we just spoke about. Perceive versus principle. If you perceive, and it's never been done, then you might be stuck. If your perception is all things are possible, then you're limitless. So this goes back to that mindset and what you're affirming yourself on a daily basis. Often it's what we learn in our past and why it's so important to create new thoughts and release the old. It's why I love psychotherapy, or I love that training so much. That training that I went through, it really helped me to understand that we can retrain our mindsets. It's actually much simpler than I've ever imagined, or anybody has imagined. So number 2, will. The will is what allows us to do it. One of my favorite, and goes with me, right? I love will. And imagination. So number 3, being imaginative. If you can imagine it, you can make it happen. How? Well, get your idea, your goal, imagine of what you want, jot it down or just think on it, which of course that's the easy part. The mental aspect for me is always easy, at least for me. If it isn't easy for you, then check out my website for a 15-minute free consultation and I can kind of help you on the mindset aspect. But going back to it, the hard part for me is the allowing, the patience, the allowing for it to gestate. Think of a garden. So you plant the carrot seeds. Let's say carrots is what you're wanting to grow. You don't go the next day saying, oh my gosh, why aren't my carrots here, right? You know that it's going to come with time. So you allow things to happen, right? Same with parents out there. If you've got a baby, when you conceived, it's going to take about 9 months before you get to meet that little him or her, right? So being confident, knowing that what you planted, so if you planted the seed, it will gestate and arrive in perfect timing. So the biggest thing is to focus on the future and what you want versus dwelling on the past. One of the laws of the universe is perpetual transportation of energy. So I think this is so cool. It's simple proof. Here's simple proof that we are a product of our energy and our environment. So think about this. A baby's born, can be born in any part of the world, and the language that they will learn is determined on the culture. So if they're born in Japan, they're going to be speaking Japanese. So the words for this sake, simple, right? Sake of energy is what they will be developing. So their energy is based on that, and it's a very silly concept, but I'm just wanting to put it out there. So again, what are you affirming? What are you building? So we talked about the first three: perception, will, and imagination. Number 4, one of my other favorites, is memory. So I added or alluded to it a little bit early, focus on the future versus dwell in the past. So it's up to us to be aware of your past thoughts that are holding you back. Anything you do in the subconscious is a form of memory. So try it tonight, actually. Try brushing with the opposite hand. How weird does that feel? Or think about putting pants on. I don't even think about it, honestly, but if you put them on with the opposite they normally do, you'll see how weird it is. So we are ingrained with those actions. It just happens subconsciously. It's what our memory is driven to do. So if you stop to really think about it consciously, it's so good for your brain. It kind of retrains it. So memory, subconscious will be another podcast for another day. There's so much to talk about it. But last, number 6 is intuition. I think this reason is fairly straightforward. I look at it as your purpose. I think of another leader I love, Alex Hormozi. Amazing guy. His goal is to be a billionaire, and he's almost there, probably a couple years. He's much younger than myself. Him and his wife are truly a power couple. He was on Louis Ho's show recently, and I love Louis. He's one of my other favorites. He's got a YouTube channel, and Alex was on there. I was absolutely blown away by something he said, or my perception of it made me feel so lucky and blessed for the outlook that I have on money and self-worth. So here's this brilliant, amazing guy, and he does not realize how awesome he is just because. He's feeling like he's got to prove himself. So I don't want to quote him because I can't exactly remember how he said it. But in a nutshell, he was kind of talking about the need for validation, or how he's seeking more and trying to prove himself because he doesn't feel enough. So I think about this, wow, okay, his ultimate goal or purpose is to be this billionaire. But what happens when he gets there and he feels like, well, I'm still not enough, right? When does it end? So what's next? And actually, a lot of successful people have this mentality. They have the same reason. Almost their reason and purpose is to prove themselves. Heck, I've actually been there too, so I can't talk, right? And I need my reminders daily that I am enough. On a daily basis, you got to tell yourself that. So honestly, I just wanted to go hug him and tell him, hey, you're amazing already, regardless of you being a billionaire or not. There's nothing to prove. So the second big thing that jumped out at me was stop to celebrate your wins. And this is just for all of us. Life can be fun and exciting along the way. Not saying that Alex wasn't having fun. I'm sure him and his wife are having plenty. But he had also mentioned, we just sold off a big portion of the company. I can't remember what it was, but for millions. And then he was right back at it. His hours are crazy long, right? And maybe that's important to them, and that's great. If that's what works for them, it's perfect. But his schedule was so crazy that for me, I love to kind of reap the rewards of the hard work. It's like, we don't know if we have tomorrow, so I can't take money with me. So it's like, gosh, I want to enjoy it with my loved ones, my friends, my family. And of course, I'm smart, I'm saving. But for me, abundance is definitely having money in the bank, but it's also being able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Work hard, play hard. So that's just me. And I know, again, we all have our different journeys, and it is awesome that we are all so different, right? But I really thought when I listened to him, I'm like, yes, I'm grateful for my mindset of feeling enough just for where I'm at and what I've accomplished in the very present moment, and continuing to know, okay, in my future, I hope to be here, but I'm going to celebrate along the way. So last of the 6 is intuition. This is what I lean on most. I love intuition, especially the more I get to know myself. So with meditation, affirmation, letting go of the past, letting go of blame, you will find, I know for myself, I have found that the more I practice knowing myself, my divine, the intuition will just come through. So lean on it, follow your heart. And I know you'll find more love for others too. It's crazy. Like, you'll want to serve and love more. It's been amazing for me to see this. And I've experienced it over the last few years, the more that I evolve and grow. So another topic for another day. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up my message for today. If you focus on these daily 6 faculties, there is no doubt in my mind that you will be inspired, as I said when I introduced this topic. So I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you next time. All right. Mwah. Bye.